and
Yeah,
start
that would be fun.
recording and welcome everybody. So I'll just say what I always say, which is, hi, this is Sally Griffin, aka Millionaire Yogi, and I help visionaries become world-changing influencers. And Monty, do you want to say what you're up to?
Yeah, I'm Monty Cox. I'm I'm MC, and then in my own, that's what I do kind of for fun because I love hosting groups. And then my own personal business is performance coaching and empowerment coaching for female entrepreneurs. So like right now, my newest client, I'm taking her through a 3-month sales cycle. And well, her last sales cycle was like 500,000. She's shooting for 6. I'm shooting for 8. So she was like, what? I was like, yeah, we got enough leads here.
Fabulous.
Yeah, she's providing an awesome service and she's a beautiful person. So she really gets to help more people.
Oh, that's great. And I think what we will be focusing on, I can see here comes Ashwarya, who I will also introduce as my collaborator in the Visionaries. And the thing about the Visionaire Club is really we wanted to gather in a kind of boutique. I was thinking, I've been watching this Berlin Babylon, which is the most amazing series. And it reminds me of those old kind of cocktail places that people go to at night, and they have all amazing conversations about vision and art and creative, things. And I don't even drink anymore, but the idea of the cocktail space is really nice. And I was thinking this is what that's like. I mean, it was true for a lot of artists like the surrealists, that they would just get together for these kind of conversations. And the backdrop for us is really that we're all about vision. And Aishwarya is going to take you through something which will be actually helping you with the visual side of things. And I would say also that the Visionaries, which is our business, we focus on a lot of marketing, but it will always be on the visual side. So we take your messaging all the way up through layers to something that you might speak, but ultimately where we're heading is to make it something visual. And maybe, maybe somebody would like it. Do all of you feel the difference between the visual medium and say just written? It'd be interesting to see on the chat who can really feel that difference. I mean, for me, if somebody sends me an email with no pictures anymore, I'm not really interested. I want to see pictures.
Yeah,
And
I like video too.
I love video. So Yvonne is saying yes, Janet is saying yes, you relate to that. And more what's happening in the world, definitely with marketing and connection, it's all about like, you guys are in my kitchen right now, and you should feel like that. You're not in an office. I'm not a suit all dressed up in that stiff way. I want you to experience like being at my kitchen table. That's visual. And as they used to say, a picture speaks 1,000 words. Well, a video speaks 1,000 pictures. So we're now heavily moving so much into the kind of medium where we want to know people. And then when we know people, we might then want to know what their service or product is, and we might want to buy from them. But it's based on trust. And so all our work now is how can we reach out across the pond and start to have these conversations which are really powerful about your vision, where you feel actually like you're at my kitchen table. And it's like that level of connection. Or you're at Monty's table.
Yeah, I was standing on my table in my living room.
Yeah.
Yeah, having a cup of tea together. That's what I thought
Yeah.
was so great about the event a couple of weeks ago. And I really, I think Mark Jenny said that. He was saying, this is actually really cool because I can see everybody. Like if you're back in like the 10th row or something, we're farther away from each other. And there is the intimacy of being in our homes and get to see that flavor of each other.
Yeah. And I just want to just look at some of the chat as well, because so looking at a few people have shared that Yvonne says, yes, she can really connect to the visionary ads we've shared. Thanks. I'm really proud of those. I mean, the visionaries are really rock on that level. Kelly is saying, yes, photos for sure. And you're a photographer. And actually, originally when I met you, Kelly, you were not doing so much with your photography. And then all of a sudden, Kelly has had a car accident. And during her healing journey, her photography is insane. It's like she could be wildlife photographer of the year, because bobcats come to her garden and big owls, and you know, it's been extraordinary seeing your photography. So yeah, I know you relate to that. Janet is saying it's more personal. Carolyn is saying you feel that learning is multisensory. I agree with you totally. So the more input, the more things can stick: sight, smell, sound. Well, if we could have scent coming off the videos, that would be amazing, because scent is really important to me as well.
Oh, wow. Oh, Dion hasn't seen any of the video ads. We showed those a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, I could show you one actually, to just start something off, because we're always going to go back to the visual. And then let's just also say, Aishwarya, where are you? Just see where you are. Because at some point, Aishwarya is going to take you through, oh, smell-o-vision. I love it, Carolyn, smell-o-vision.
Hey.
Yeah. Hey, hello.
I was just hiding in the back, just reading your comments, and yeah, literally thinking about smell-o-vision, how that would be. And I'm sure that's going to come out at some point, because we never envisioned that we would be here, right? There was a time where it was like, even to see someone and talk was like a highly technical thing. So I'm sure we'll get there.
Well, they did have those books, Scratch and Sniff. Do you remember those? And even for babies, they have scratch, sniff, crackle. You know, you make noises. It's multisensory. But yes, if we were emitting a scent right now, I would be emitting a strong vanilla scent, Tom Ford Vanilla Fatale, which is just one of my favorite scents ever. But maybe that would be a good thing to do, Aishwarya. What do you think? Do you want to, shall I show one of the Visionary ads to show what we're talking about, where we lead?
Carolyn is excited. She wants an ad real bad.
Okay. Well, shall I show mine? Because then you can just, it's my favorite, because it's all about me. Sorry.
Yeah, definitely. I think it would give a background to what we're gonna talk about anyway. So yeah.
Okay, great. Well, let me just set it up, because we want to have it super smooth this time. Like last time, I was fumbling around in the dark. I'll try and fumble less. But yeah, let me get this up and then I'll share my screen.
And it's nice to see some familiar faces as well, like from the event that we did, you know, some familiar names. So it's really great, because we're all about building a community and just always sharing and growing together, and helping each other learn, really, and insights and all of that. So great.
Okay, so I am ready. I'm going to share the screen with you guys. And so this is how I do all my intros now. So even when I'm, you know, public speaking, or I'm getting known in a certain new arena, I always get them to check me out this way first. And it's a really different experience than me just sitting there and explaining myself, right? So here we go. I've got Phoenix the cat here with me. Let me ask you a question. If it was the last day of your life and you were hanging up your bag of bones and you'd had a great life and you look back on it, the question is there something that you would have regretted not doing? My name is Sally Griffin, aka Millionaire Yogi. And many years ago, when I was traveling through India, two things happened. I started to receive a download of information. The first part of the download was, happiness is a choice. And then the second part of the download came down, and it was this simple: and you'll never be happy working 9 to 5. I'm a spiritual business coach and a performance coach. I've launched a lot of different kinds of businesses. I've written 3 books. I've run a yoga festival. I've run over 60 international retreats. And I've taken a real estate company from 0 to 7 million in London. Now I've come to the part of my life which is the most exciting. And that's because I'm teaching you how to launch your business. I teach barefoot in business. And that means that you can take a business around in your pocket, from your phone, from your laptop. You can be a digital nomad and have a natural flow of all the cycles in life without being in an office. You can live the life that you want. So the people that I really want to work with are people who I would describe as having a calling. And what is a calling? A calling is something that calls you forward, gets you out of bed in the morning because you simply can't leave it alone. Happiness is the objective, and having time with loved ones, to yourself, to travel, while making money is part of the calling. If this speaks to you and something is calling you forward, and even if you don't know the first step, then why don't we have a conversation and call me? Okay.
It is just so good. It blows my mind every time I see it. I've seen it probably like 10 times. I never get tired of it. You know, I was thinking it would be really interesting because I know that you started, you two kind of, and with Kareem started this just by doing your own ad, Sally, right? Like it wasn't like, let's start doing this for people. Like you were working on something for yourself. How did that kind of evolve?
Well, for me, you know, as a coach, and you've seen, you know, what I coach in, lots of entrepreneurial kind of work. I've known Aishwarya for a few years. We've been involved in a lot of interesting spiritual things together. We're real sisters. And I came to a point in my own business, certainly in my own coaching, where I knew that there's a piece missing. I had studied some of the nerdy little things. I'd gone to a lot of masterminds, and I know that there are technical pieces about how to get people to link into you and take the hook and all of that. And I'm not bad at selling, right? That it's not a painful thing for me. But when I was speaking to a lot of other coaches, colleagues, or even people who I was coaching myself, selling is the hardest thing. Like it's almost like the icky bit, especially if you're involved in spiritual work. So what I realized is, and this is looking at what's happening in a saturated market right now. I went to film school, God, like 100 years ago. And I used to study ads. And I used to actually go to ad award ceremonies. So watch just a whole evening of ads. And I realized that what's happening in the coaching world is that we see the same thing over and over again. The American version, which then hits the English version, which goes into the German version, comes from America, is always the same thing. And it's a sell to, it's I'm looking at you, you there, and then I will tell you, and this is how it usually goes. Have you ever noticed that there's a downturn in the market? Are you feeling a little bit depressed by that? Lackluster? Not going on walkies every day? Well, I have the program for you.
Hallelujah.
Hallelujah. And it's over and over again. And there was nothing that was changing on that. They might have words written now. There might be bubbles floating up, but it's the same thing. And what happens when you see YouTube and Facebook, which is interrupting ads, your own videos that you want to watch, like animal videos that I want to watch sometimes, being interrupted with people's ads, which again are selling to, then I noticed that my own reaction, rather than being that kid who used to go and watch ads and be fascinated by them, I'm just having this reaction, like over and over again, like, oh my God, this person is selling to me. So I had the problem and I had the inspiration, both things happening at the same time. I needed to get my message out. I wanted to develop trust and connection with people. And I wanted a very different approach than just the, hello, here I am. I know your pain point and I'm going to just sell straight into it. And so Aishwarya and Karim, he's a videographer who really has worked a lot in the music video industry, and she's worked in music videos. And I was saying, I want something for business, but which isn't that stiff suit, you know, approach either, because a lot of business videos are really freaking boring. Like I've seen those. There's nothing really outstanding with them. So we came up with this thing to solve my problem. And then all of a sudden it was like, you know, 30 years ago when I was in film school, it was like a completion to a conversation for me. And we went into business together because we so understood that business needs something sexy, that trust is the way that you can sell easily, and connection is the main piece. So how can we do that? And it's by not focusing first on product or service, it's focusing on the vision or the storytelling aspect of the entrepreneur. And so this is where we've got to. So then we went into business together. We're having a lot of fun with that right now because I'm so proud of this. It's like, it really is unique, and it's like that indie British, you know, British film is always considered like a little bit different. It's a little bit something. So anyway, there we go. And
yeah, I'm gonna just jump in there and say that my perspective was, you know, I'm a singer, and I have been, and that's how I met Kareem, because he shot a music video for me, and that's how we started working together. And I think just going off what you're saying about like the business ads and being really businessy, it's like we really care about bringing that artistic flair, that creative flair, you know, like even though it's an ad, it's still film, it's still cinematic, and that's why we call our ads cinematic and artistic, because we want, and it's like we can make that feeling of watching a film in 2.5 minutes. It doesn't have to be 2.5 hours or an hour and a half. We're really bringing that in, and that's come from what we've created as a business. It has been amazing because we've been able to take mine and Kareem's background of being in music to people in business now, and it's like creating something so new and exciting even for us, because I creatively direct the videos and Kareem shoots them, and Sally does the process of messaging and really bringing your symbols forward. So as a trio, it's just been such a journey for us, even watching people and bringing their brand to life in that way has been just totally exciting as well for me.
I love it. Which kind of leads into the next segment, because today Aishwarya has got some teachings for us, because you're really great at helping people get comfortable on camera, but first getting comfortable with who they are, really getting clear on who that they are and the message that they want to bring forward, what's important, like to them and to right now, right?
Yeah, definitely. Thank you. And actually, before I do this process, I just want to open up a conversation. Just going back a little bit, I have, being in the music industry, I've always found, you know, when I was younger, it was very different when I just started singing, and I just was like so happy to just be myself on camera, because there was no, you know, when you're younger, you don't have all these preconceived notions of how you should turn up, how you should look, how people want you to turn up. And it's only very recently that I've started tapping back into that, because for a long time I've had pressure to turn up in a certain way, and to always look and appear perfect and this and that, and it was just like really exhausting. And now what I really want to help people do is be authentic on camera. I want people to be themselves on camera, because I think that's really what we need. This is a very saturated market in terms of everybody's online, and everybody's, you know, there's all these filters and lighting and this and makeup and all of that kind of stuff, and some of us can just end up feeling really lost or like really confused as in how do we get in there, you know, because maybe you don't want to come like that. Maybe you want to just come as you are, which I actually really encourage now, because you are your brand. And for you to truly represent your brand, you need to be comfortable to show up as you are. You're going to have days where you feel great, you can go off and you can do your hair and your house looks great and you can come on, and those are days which are easy. And there's going to be days where you just don't want to, you know, you just have had a bad day and you just feel like, I don't want to come on camera now, I don't want to, I've had like an hour meeting, whatever it is. And it's about finding that balance, so the consistency and your routine, or just taking your business forward to the next level, is not stunted. And that really comes from how you feel about yourself way before you are even doing, you know, the camera work. And a lot of people think, well, you know, that's a big pond to dive in or whatever, because we can go on forever about how I feel about myself and how am I going to get on camera. But actually, I am a real believer that you don't need years of therapy. You can actually change things overnight. It might take you a week, it might take you 10 weeks. Everybody's different, but it's possible. And I think there are certain things that I've learned on my journey and things that I've tapped into to just gain awareness of what truly holds me back from being myself, what truly is that obstacle for me to just kind of get on camera on the days where I don't feel great, and for me to take my business to the next level, for me to do Facebook Lives, for me to do an ad, you know, all of those things, for me to go beyond things that I've ever done before. And it translates to actually showing up in business. It's not just about getting on camera. This is translatable skills which you can take on to, like, for public speaking, or those difficult meetings where people don't know you, whatever it is. It's like how you show up as a person. So before I go into anything, I want to just open up this conversation, because we're going to really be diving into self-concept. That's the kind of topic of today. But I want to open up this arena, or whatever, it's not an arena, but you know, this space, to what you feel. And you might not get it right now, but I don't know how many of you are used to being in front of the camera. I don't know how many of you do regular stuff, but if you're not used to it, or what do you think holds you back? And if you are used to it, I'm sure you still have things that hold you back. I still have things that hold me back. So I want to just ask, what about you, Monty? What do you think? Like, do you feel like, because I know you do a lot of improv stuff, and for me, when I watch you, you're just it feels like you're just a pro. But I want to hear you and see what, you know, your obstacles might have been.
Thank you. Oh my gosh, my obstacles were many. You know, I was speaking on a stage. I was hosting an event a couple of months ago, and it was a 2-day. And on the first night, you know, she was a business, and she had business event, and she had wanted them to go home and do a 3-part video series. And if anybody doesn't know what that is, it's like if you're sending out emails, like teaching something, you'll teach 3 parts in short videos so people can digest it, take a little action. And she assigned them to go home and do it. And not even to send it out, just to make the videos and to watch them. And half the room was like, we're like, how are you guys doing? And some people were just horrified, right? And I was able to share with them. I'm like, look, here's the deal. 8 years ago, I mean, I sat in this very living room. I had I bought one of those, I don't know, whatever you call the thing, where you stand it up, right? And then the roll down background. It was a green screen. I had a camera standing here, one there, one there. I mean, I learned how to edit. I learned how to put in all the wordings and everything. I was doing my workout videos because I was personal training. And I don't think I ever got any online. You know, I would end up in my room, just me by myself, in the fetal position. Just like, I had such a hard time just trying to be myself. I was like trying to be what I thought I was supposed to be, right? And it's been like a long journey for me. A couple of years ago, I started a Facebook Live show that I was doing for a while, just every Thursday at 2, you know, just to get, you know, more comfortable. I mean, with that room, to go back to that room, I mean, I told them this story. I was like, look, if you go home today and you do 3 30-second videos and you can't even get a word out, like, which I can relate to, just like, you know, like completely a mess, and stop the video. And then the hard part is to watch it back. You know, that was really hard for me. Even, you know, like it took me forever to be able to watch my videos back. Like now I can watch, you know, my Facebook Lives, and I'm like, oh, okay, this is pretty good, you know? So for me, it was definitely a journey, and a lot of it was taking off masks of what I thought I was supposed to be, And just, you know, honestly, recently this year is when I really, really came out of my shell. And it's, you know, and it's, for me, I'm the kind of person, it's never feels like it's good enough, you know, or at least that's how it was. You know, I could do something, people are like, oh, that was amazing. And I'm already trying to improve it. But now it's not a battle, if you know what I mean. It's not like a beat up thing. It's just like, okay, cool. No, I'm the kind of person that's always going to want to perfect, but it was good. We got reaction. And since I've been doing that, like my last Facebook lives have just been really, you know, getting a lot of really good feedback. And another thing for me, I realize that the more that I just am myself, the more that people are responding. And that's when the videos are blowing up, you know, and when I show up and I don't make it about myself, you know, is another thing that really helps me. It's been a big journey. It's like, oh, what are they going to think of me? What are, you know, like, are they going to like me? Am I good enough? Do I know enough? And when I don't make it about that and I just make it about, okay, what do I want to create for this? You know, like when we did the 2-day event a couple weeks ago, I just wanted to create a little bit of lightness, fun, you know, good flow, make people feel comfortable, give them the space to ask questions, you know, it's not about me, you know, like our message and our mission, I believe, is just not about us. And, you know, it can be very easy to feel like it is, you know, I mean, because it totally is about us and it's not about us at all. So that's what's really helped me the most.
No, thank you for sharing. And it's really important that people are vulnerable with how they feel, because it's, you know, when everybody gets on camera, it just looks like everybody's got it figured out. But actually hearing that makes me feel like, okay, I've also gone through certain things, and I'm just looking at the chat here as well, because I was listening to you and I was just really connecting with that. And a lot of stuff that I'm reading is about body image, feeling like they're not photogenic, people staring, and even like speaking to a little dot on the screen, not screen, just like a camera lens, overthinking, all of that kind of stuff. And it's something which it feels like, you know, how am I going to shift that? But it really is possible, because and sometimes you won't shift all of it, you know. I still get days where I feel like that. I've been in front of the camera so many times, but it's like, you're not perfect. We're not perfect as beings, but we want people to, I mean, we are perfect as beings, but I'm saying, you know, we have those days. I don't want anyone gunning me after this to say, what do you mean? But, you know, it's like, we want to connect, you know, Visionaries statement, Sally always says as well, connection is currency. Sometimes there'll be people out there that just don't maybe look have the best setup or whatever. That's something, those things are easy to sort out, lighting, camera angles, whatever, those things are easy. But there's some people that maybe don't have the best setup, but you just want to watch them, because it's about how they feel when they're communicating to you. It's about their message. It's about their vision. It's just like they are radiating this light that you just don't even care what's going on. You just want to tune in. And there's people like that on YouTube that have, like, not that it's about subscribers, but they do have a lot of subscribers. So what I want to do is talk about self-concept. And I'm going to do a meditation with you in a minute, to just really tap in to how you see yourself, and how you want to be seen, and certain blocks that are holding you back. And I'm going to just go through it live with you. If you were on the event, I did some of it with you, but I'm going to do the full thing today. And before we go into that, I want to just talk about what self-concept is. Now, self-concept is made up of 3 things. So it's like the question, like, who am I? So self-image, how you see yourself. Your ideal self, how you want to be seen, and self-esteem, how you think other people value you, or how you think you are of, it's like others, how others see you. And what we maybe don't think about on a daily basis, because we're so used to just looking in the mirror and getting on with our day, there's so many things that affect our self-concept and affect it as we go along. And until we start shifting and being aware of what's going on within ourselves, we're going to be attracting that same message, right? We know that if we haven't changed something within ourselves, we're going to attract that reaction, and we're going to attract that kind of same vibe. So I want to today just shift something for you guys, even if it's just awareness. And I'm just reading the comments as well. It's weird. I'm not used to Zoom. That's something I'm a baby in. So yeah, and you know, so many things affect self-concept, like your past, definitely, your present, your future, where you're going, the society that you're in, your values, your goals, the things that you feel like you can do well, the beliefs that you hold about yourself, and even the culture that I come from. I'm Indian, and that was quite encouraged actually to, you know, be singing and dancing and being in front of the camera. But I've had a lot of friends from an Islamic background, and I think they're absolutely amazing, but they found it a bit harder to be on camera because of certain beliefs. So I want to work with your culture and work with your values and with your goals, because everybody comes from it. We don't want to work against anything. We want to be in the flow of what we are, but be authentic and be just able to show up. So we're going to go through this process, and then we'll check back in, all of us, and see how we found it and what we got and all of that kind of stuff. So it's not just like it's done, because we want to continue this conversation. So everybody get comfortable. If you need to go to the toilet or anything like that, just do it now. Otherwise, I'm gonna maybe give you a minute for that, and then just relax, make sure that all the distractions are out the way. And I'll just go through some of these comments. I'm always listening to the conversations around me and jumping in. Oh, that's Monty Dion. Yeah, 10 minutes obsessing, comparing. When you go down that comparing route, it's like it's this never-ending road that you just can't, you know. It's like we all have to own that we're different, and what we bring is just, but I still get into that. I'm not gonna ever stand here and say I've got it all figured out, because I really haven't. But yeah, anyway, I hope everybody's back from the toilet now. So I just want you to just relax. I want you to just really feel yourself on your seat or wherever you're sitting. I want you to feel like something is just pulling you from your seat into the earth and just grounding you. So that's going to be your support system for this process. I want you to take account of all the sounds that are going on in the room and just be okay with that. I want you to be aware of the touch wherever your fingers are on. I want you to just know that that's what you're touching right now. And any smells. And I just want you to start feeling the temperature of the air on your skin. And just being really okay, because you are in the perfect space and you are a vibrational match to the journey that we're going to go on. So it's all good. I want you to just start breathing at just the rate that you're breathing in right now. And really tune into that. Is your in-breath longer? Is your out-breath shorter? Just tap into your own flow. And I want you to slowly just change it. So breathe in for 4 counts, and then breathe out for 4. And just make your breath connect like waves. And just imagine that it's just so easy to breathe. Something that we just don't even think about. And it just happens. I'm going to now play some koshi bells. And this sound is in the frequency of ether. So all that is, all that will be, all that was. And this sound is going to be with you throughout this meditation, just guiding you. I want you to feel your feet firmly planted on the floor. And just know that you're really held throughout this time. And you do have the permission to go deeper within yourself, just to touch in with whatever is going on. I want you to feel like you're just sinking into the earth, but it's such a pleasant feeling. It's similar to sinking into your bed at the end of a long day. And you're just slowly drifting deeper and deeper within the earth, through all the layers, through the rich mud that makes everything grow, through the layers of rock, just effortlessly gliding through the crystal caves, just falling deeper and deeper. And then suddenly you find yourself in this big space. And there is a lot of light. And you have the option to choose to go somewhere where you feel really safe. It's a place that only you can go. Nobody else can come with you. It might be a familiar place. It might be a place that you love. It might be somewhere completely new that you've never been. And I just want you to find yourself in that place, again, with just effortlessly. And take in the senses, use your senses in this place. How do you feel? Where are you? Just look around you. This is your safe space where you will always be able to access yourself deeper and deeper. Right in front of you, you see something shiny, something that's catching the light. And you realize it's a mirror. Before you pick up the mirror, you just look at it and you just take in how it looks, how big it is, what the frame looks like. Again, it's a mirror that only you can see and only you can look into. You start looking into this mirror after you've picked it up. And just tap into how you feel when you see your reflection. What feelings come up? Nothing is right and nothing is wrong. There's nothing that you should or should not feel. It's just where you are right now. Think about the features that you notice about yourself. What stands out to you? What do you sometimes overlook? And just sit with yourself and just take in that this is you. This is who you have chosen to be. This is who you've come in as, and there is nobody like you. There is nobody that looks like you. This is your own uniqueness. Now I want you to look at your eyes. And we're going to journey deeper into your own being. And your eyes are the doorway to this. As you look into your eyes, you feel like you are going into the mirror. This is the next layer of your journey. You may feel resistant, or it might just be really easy. Just give yourself time. As you go into the mirror, you are transcending time and space. You have access to all realities. You have access to your psyche, past, present, and future. And it feels completely comfortable. You keep just floating. Until you come to a space where two doors appear. There's one door on your left and one door on your right. One of these doors represents your blocks, and the other door represents what you celebrate about yourself. You won't know which one represents what. You'll only find out once you get there. Before you open the door, you realize that you're going to see a version of yourself. This version can be from the past. It can be from the present. It can be from the future. It can even be from another dimension. But the version behind this first or second door is still you. So I want you to choose a door to go into right now. And you just enter this door. And I want you to take in what this place looks like behind this door. What's there? What can you feel? What can you see? What can you touch? What's the lighting like? Are there people in this room, or is it just you? And if you don't already see yourself, the version of you, you see a curtain, and you know behind the curtain is a version of you. So you open that and you see. If you are struggling to see something, that's completely fine. Don't force anything. Maybe you just need to wait a while. The main thing that I want you to tap into is how you feel right now. How do you feel in this place? Because you are quite deep within yourself. How do you feel about what you see in front of you? I want you to start opening up communication with this version of yourself. And just remember that communication may not always be words. It can be feelings. It can be memories. It can be just a knowing that you have. It can be intuition, just that quiet voice. And you're going to really tap into that. I'm going to just give you just a minute without my voice guiding you, so you can really take in what you need to take in about this version of you. I want you to be open to finding out questions like, how does this version feel about itself? How do you feel about yourself? Is it happy where it is? What does this version of you love about itself? What does this version maybe wish was different about itself? How do you feel in the presence of this version of yourself? Now, this version of yourself has a message for you. I want you to be able to receive that message in whatever form it might be. This dialogue with this version of yourself will always be available, even when we leave this room. You'll always be able to receive downloads and have a conversation with this version. This version of yourself also has a gift for you. It can be a physical gift. It can be a message. It can be a knowing. Any way it wants to give it to you, just let that gift appear. And just know that it's going to be time to go back soon. But be grateful that you have had the opportunity to meet this version and to open communication. And be okay with all the feelings that you felt. Because feelings are temporary and they can change and grow and become whatever we feed them to be. So with this message and with this gift, you start walking out of this room. You walk out of the door that you came in. You start walking back through all that time and space, that place you were at before you got to the door, just flowing easily through all that time and space, all the realities that are available to you. You just feel like something has been completed. You may not know what that is, you may not know what form it will take, but it's been completed. The communication has started with you and the deeper parts of yourself, because there are many parts for you to explore and discover. And you have only gained today going to this place, which you can visit at any time. And then you find yourself just coming back through the mirror. You see your eyes in the mirror. You see yourself. You find yourself in your safe place that you were. And you put the mirror down. And you slowly feel like you are lifting back up through the earth, back through the crystal caves, just slowly rising above, just lifting back through all the rocks, back through all that earth and that rich mud. And you find your feet back on the floor. You find yourself seated back where you're sitting. And you know you're back in the room where we started. And you can again feel the temperature of the room. You can feel what you can touch. And I don't want you to open your eyes just yet, because I just want you to just sit with what's happened. because we are going to come back into a space that no matter where we have been, where we are in the world, we've all shared this space. And that transcends time, time zones, space, wherever we are. But before we come back into that communal space, we're going to just take that minute for ourselves and just feel how we feel individually. We've journeyed quite deep within ourselves, so it might feel a little bit raw, a little bit open. So I just want you to connect back with your breath and prepare to have just a light barrier over what's happened before you come back into the space. Just know you're protected, and we're going to just come back. And you're not going to open your eyes, you're just going to lightly start rubbing your hands together. And you're going to just, at your own pace, vigorously kind of change the speed of that. And you're going to feel your face, which is yours. And you're going to feel appreciative that you have that face. And you're just going to let the light in. And we don't have to say anything. We're just going to come back into the room. And just take a quick minute. And we're back. Hey guys, welcome back to reality. Great. So how are people feeling right now after that? How do you all feel? Great. Well, I'm really happy you all feel positive and blissful. This meditation was to really go deeper within our psyche, to just find all these different parts of us. And it's all really symbolic, you know, something that Sally works with, symbology, symbolic. And you might not know all the things or what they mean. Why did I feel like that? But as time goes on, it will start showing itself to you. So what gifts did you get? What messages did you get? You can share whatever. You can share whatever you want. Keep writing my stories. Okay, great. So that's something you're obviously meant to do. And what was that version of yourself? Was it from the past, future? Guilam, gosh, you know what? Everybody gets my name wrong, but I'm gonna have to get somebody else's name wrong. I don't know how to say your first name, but trust my intuition, great. Okay, well, this is something that I want. Monty, how was that for you?
That was awesome. It was kind of surprising when you put the, I kind of directed a little bit more than I wished I would have, because when you said the two doors, it was so cool. I was in it because my head went left, my head went right. And then you said one was going to be blocks and one wasn't. And so like immediately I made this one steel and then this one was selenite. And so it was too late to just see which one I went into. So I chose the selenite.
Wow.
And I ended up, yeah, because I ended up, if you've ever seen, it was kind of like, what was that, J.R. Tolkien? They did the series a few years ago, the Lord of the Rings, when they go to the fairyland and it's all kind of that like soft daytime lighting, and I was in that place. So it was really awesome. And it was just a really cool version of me that I actually had been with Sally in London when she took me through a visualization. I was kind of like in a Tarzan little number running around this jungle place. And yeah, at the end, he touched the gift. I thought it was going to be this gift that I normally get, but then he touched my third eye and I felt it light up.
Wow.
Yeah, it was pretty awesome. I really enjoyed that. It was very clear to just continue to go deeper into trusting myself, letting go of those masks, and knowing that it's all within me, which I think is exactly what you're talking about.
That's amazing. And the version you saw of yourself, was that you as you are now, or was it a different version?
It was pretty much me now, yeah.
Did anyone get a different version? If you can unmute somebody if you got a different version of yourself, or did everyone? Oh wow, okay, so everyone.
I got future version.
Ah, okay.
Version, and I saw my current version. My future version hugged my current version and was like, and introduced. My future version was standing there with a partner, and introduced the partner to me as present, and they were like, wow, and I was like, wow. I had a bit of a really good moment there, so it was quite a fun moment. Yeah, so I got future version. Yeah, very strongly, very specific.
Wow. And then what was that feeling that you got when you saw your future version?
Peace and strength, and the part of me that I'm most fearful of was actually what was radiating, a lot in my future version, that I didn't have to lose that. It's obvious that I didn't have to change myself in the way that I thought I would have to change myself in the future to be the future version. So yeah.
Wow, that's so interesting. So I think a lot of us actually struggle with that kind of issue of like, we're more scared of what we actually radiate. It's like, what, you need that permission to shine. Like, what gives me the right to be so bright and shiny? I'm not saying that that's what you got, but it's something that I've heard, like, a lot of people just don't want to go out and be amazing that when they are. So it's very interesting. Thank you for sharing.
Thank you.
Sally, what did you get?
I had an amazing one because I have this deep connection to a kind of medieval landscape, and I always have. And I went straight into almost like Monty's fairy land. It was a bit Game of Thrones. And when you asked me to look at myself through the curtain, I saw my left side. It was really interesting. I was just witnessing me looking down at myself, sitting down, very regal, very queen-like, very serene, super feminine. And I had a moment where I was thinking, I could get up and dance, but I'm not going to. It was like, this is the other side of me, which is this very serene, which I connect with as well, and I'm not always, I have that side that I kind of am fascinated with, this sort of dancey, jump around side, but this is not what was emanating. And when I finally got the gift, it was this incredibly shiny, bright star, and then I put it in my throat. And it was just radiating out of my throat. And it felt like I had a little flash, and I was thinking, I talk a lot. I talk a lot, like for business, I talk a lot. And I noticed that at the end of the day, which is now, I feel a little bit like, ugh, and that star was just healing something.
Expression as well, the throat chakra.
Yeah.
Clearing that expression. Diana's written, the future version of me hugged me and said that I was the object of my own desire. Great.
Wonderful.
Really, really amazing. Yeah, I'm gonna read all these comments, and I think that this is a way to really start tapping into how you really feel about yourself. There are so many versions of us, you know, like if we really want to go into that whole space of ether, I believe we are multi-dimensional beings, and we are always on so many platforms at the same time, and we have access to that. But it's about really tapping into who you are right now and how you feel about that. And this is a way, doing it through meditation removes that kind of obstacle of when somebody asks you that question and your brain's like firing all these answers of what you should say and what you shouldn't say. And then from there, once we start being aware of that, and once we start clearing that space, we can have a really solid foundation to just show up authentically. You know, if we have to start accepting all these parts of ourselves before we get into a routine on camera, before we do anything. And people might be pros at being in front of the camera, and it's still something to do. And what we really are in the game of with the Visionaries, and what's really important to us, is that people just show up authentically. You don't need to have it all figured out, but you need to start showing up, especially if you have a vision. That's why we're called the Visionaries. We work with people that have a vision, and this is the time right now to really get that out there, especially with what's going on in the world. And if you do feel that pull that you should be on camera, that you should do Facebook Lives or Zooms, or even if you wanted to do an ad one day, whatever it is, it's like, listen to that space within you, because it's something that wants to express itself, and you don't ever want to stunt that. You always want to make room for that to develop, for that to grow, for you to always tap in, and your expression always changes as well. You know, we're not just one stream of, it's always growing. So it's about this meditation, this space is about opening up that and growing it, so we can really go out into the world and just be who we are supposed to be. Because that's why you're on this call, by the way, all of you, because you wouldn't have come to this call. Vibrationally, universally, you signed up. So the fact that we are having this conversation, the fact that we are here, is a sign, if people believe in signs, that you're supposed to show your expression. And even if we never meet again, I think if you could just take that from this, that would be amazing.
Maybe I'll jump in and say something as well. I was on another call earlier, as I often am, and I was dealing with the conversation about what are different personality types and how they show up in the camera. And it was a guy, and he was super like technical detail, quiet, and all of that. And he asked me, and then I asked him what he did, and he said he was a business coach. And I thought, wow, he's like such a different business coach than I am, because his whole thing is detail and behind the scenes and that. And so he asked my opinion, like, what is a missing piece for me? And I said to him, you know, when you speak, you light up, but you're obviously quite an introvert, and your whole world is, he'll have systems and all of that kind of thing. But he said, in this scenario of COVID virus, where we know that we are going to go through a number of months, really, if not years, something will be a little different. What could he do? What's the one thing that he could do? And I could have come up with all sorts of like tacky little strategies, like do this and get on there and, you know, whatever. But I was like, the one thing is you need to get seen. You need to get connected and seen. And it's not like I'm giving you a strategy, but he'd seen these ads, and I said, can you imagine if you were able to take this piece away with you, that rather than trying to prove yourself in this kind of scenario and reach out, you were just able to send your ad? And he was like, wow, that's powerful. That's why I believe in this power of vision versus endless talking, endless emails, endless this and that, you know, because if we were working with him, we could have got into his soul really to see what really moved him and what made him different than all the other business coaches that there are. And then that gets translated into the vision. So for me, what I'm interested in is moving people through building blocks, if you like, of this, wherever you are. You can be super introvert. You can be like this guy who I was speaking to today. You could be like the center of attention, a bit like Monty is on a super hyper day. And all of it, working with your vision, is bringing it back to who is authentically you, like who are you? And again, we're going to keep the Visionaire Club is going to be something that Aishwarya and I were talking about, like how often do we want to do it with Monty, because he's part of he's the LA connection. And it really is to just take you through these versions of yourself to the next level. And we ultimately will be doing visionary ads, at some point when the restrictions come off, we will be shooting again and doing all of that. But we do building blocks towards this. And I've said this to a few of you before, that while we're in this opportunity, if you like, you can take on certain building blocks. So there are two things that Aishwarya and I are doing right now. One is she's very much taking this thing of how to imprint your unique stamp in front of the camera. And it's very much the work that she does and getting people to blossom and almost become like the ultimate host. So if you have any interest in that kind of work, please put the word imprint. That's imprinting your brand in front of the camera, and put imprint. And it would not only tell us what you're interested in and where we could go with the Visionaire Club, like some of the techniques that we can use with you, but we will also follow up with that. If somebody is specifically interested in, like, maybe you've never taken on being the host of your own show. Maybe you've never actually expanded that side of you. So that's a building block. It's a piece. I work with Aishwarya a little bit on that, but mostly it's her techniques for working with people. She's been a star on the stage. I've seen her. And so she can really help people with that kind of work. And so I'll take note and I'll follow up with you guys. There's another piece that we do, which comes with the actual ad, and it's all about the secret of symbolic marketing. And that course that we do is the 6-week course where we create your symbolic script. And I'm very much part of that one, because a lot of the work that I do is trying to get deeper into somebody's messaging at the level of what are the symbols that we would then imprint your entire brand with. And if somebody is interested in that kind of work, it would be interesting to see, and we could do work around symbols. If so, could you put the word symbol down, and we can follow that up as well. It's just taking stock of where you are at this point, where you're leading towards, and what we can help with, really. And right now, I think if I could say one thing, it's like, this is not a lockdown bummer experience. This is one of the times when you look back in your life, this may be that time when you finally did the thing that you wanted to do. You may have been laid off. You may have, you cannot see any way that your previous job or existence would continue. And maybe that's exactly right. It is like, necessity is the mother of invention, right? Have you heard that saying before? So, not the Frank Zappa mothers of invention. I love them too, but it really is when it's necessary that you take the steps to shift. And I know Carolyn, we were talking earlier, like Carolyn is an example of, she ran a spa, like literally a physical spa where people came to get treatments, and her business has like just stopped like that. And she's recreating herself as something else, and it's going to be really powerful, Do you want to take your thing off mute for a minute and just let's talk for a sec?
Mine's been off mute.
There you go.
I feel a bit emotional about our journey because in my journey, I did exactly what Monty did. I pre-picked my doors. My door on the left was like the, the block door. In my mind, it was corporate. And then the right door was this bohemian, beautifully turquoise painted, funky, cool thing. And I went into that door, and then I just saw a storm. I just saw this gray crashing on these, cliff storm. And I went, wow. And I really wanted it to not be a storm. I struggle with the fact that I'm a tempest. I am a tempest, and I'm always feeling as if I have to rope that down and keep it under wraps and don't blow shit up. You know what I mean? I'm always like that. But when I looked behind that curtain, I saw a little girl in there crying. And then it was like I looked back at the storm, I calmed the girl, and when I looked back, she was a beautiful maiden. Like I'm older, I'm moving into that crone time, I'm 55. But when I looked at myself, like I don't feel 55. I don't, like inside of me, I'm still a maiden. And, but I'm so emotional about her journey because I don't know how to wrestle with my storms. I don't know if that makes sense. So I felt as if I was looking at my future, my past, and my now. And the message to me was, it's okay to rest. I never rest. I'm always working. I never rest. I don't know if that makes sense. Like, it's okay to rest. You're not going to be in trouble for taking a nap. You're not going to be in trouble for resting. And so, I'm sorry if I digressed from your question, but it just was so big. I feel like that was a big journey. I'm emotional.
Quickly jumped in there, Carolyn, and I'm really happy that I think this is really positive. With storms, it's like sometimes we just have to be in that storm and just be in the center of it and just let it whirl around us and do whatever it needs to do, and then it will pass, And I just wanted to say that to you because I think that, I'm so grateful that you shared that, and I really hope that you do get that rest that you need so you can go be the maiden or whatever. I'm so happy you saw something great behind that curtain. And,
me too, because I was tripping out. I'm like, no, why do I have to tear shit up? I don't want to tear shit up all the time. I'm a system buster is what happens. You know what a system buster is? I come in the room and I look around and there's the facade and I'm like, wow, well, that's kind of crap. And they're lying over there. I wish sometimes I could go with the game, but I can't. I don't know, does it make any sense? You guys are beautiful. I really appreciate all this time. Another thing, I used to have a lot of dreams, I still do, about storms, and oftentimes, I'm just remembering that oftentimes the joy of the storm dreams are the flopsome and the gypsum. Because after these storm dreams, I go out and I look upon the shore and there's all these things that have washed up and have been uncovered. And so, thank you. I'm sorry, I just remembered. The good part about the storms is all these crazy, I find things that I don't even know what they are, I'm like, this looks Japanese, what is it? I don't know. So thank you.
Massive breakthrough without a breakdown. There's no massive breakthrough without a little breakdown. It's just the way nature is set up for regrowth and to pattern interrupt, and also a nap.
I need a nap. I'm so sorry, Sally. I don't know if I answered your question.
Of course you did. You can be any way you want. I wanted to just mention, because you mentioned storms, it's interesting, maybe Monty, I don't know if you saw my pal Ariella's Zach, the recent Zach channeling.
When he was talking about COVID-19 a few weeks ago, he was saying that it's like it's like a storm just at sea, like at the edge of the ocean, you know what I mean? And that we are the electromagnetic field that can calm the undercurrent, because if the undercurrent just continues to race, then the storm gets stronger. you know, and he was saying that in their experience, you know, from where they are, of us as a planet, is more people are actually calm and getting it and taking the message, and so that it doesn't have to necessarily go so bad. And so Sally brings it up at a great time. It's a great way for you if you can just, like, I was so grateful when I read that you had seen the maiden, because that means, you know what I mean, it's just a really great sign, because you get to have the storm, but it's like, just calm it down, you know what I mean? Just calm it down, you know, and then everything, like the sun can come out, you know?
Yeah, and this being that we're talking about is a channeled entity, if you like, that comes around, that's in its own right, Zach, because it's not male nor female. It's a bit like Abraham Hicks, you know, comes through. It's not really, it's way beyond gender, and it's connected to source. Anyway, Zach was describing this storm, that we were due a storm with COVID. We were due the storm, no matter what. Whatever you call that pause, it was due. And if we can get that, like, if we just understand that there's no way around that storm. However, depending upon how grounded and like a rock we are, this storm will be quicker to pass. You can't get around the storm, but the storm will be quicker to pass. And it was interesting today, because I was just thinking about his words and your whole metaphor of the storm. And it looks like there's, first of all, with the British public, you know, we were told, like, we're not good because we like our freedom. But my experience was going out into Hampstead Heath and seeing that people were very good, actually, very taking space and being very considerate, and lots more eye contact with people and lots more compassion. And so I had thought, well, actually, I think the British public are doing pretty well, you know. And all of a sudden, the scientists are now saying, absolutely, the British public are really being great. And so what's showing up is the slowdown quicker than they expected. It's still going to take its toll, and it doesn't affect young people. It affects, you know, me, who I've lived through several storms. I did the 2008 property decimation and totally survived. Then, you know, my younger self was through the AIDS crisis, and that hit every young person. So it wasn't an old person's storm. It wasn't a crone's storm. And this one is the elders' storm, right? And it's not the young people's storm. But if we can just like ground and see this, like, this is an opportunity. And part of the visionary piece is, how can you like expand your vision at a time when you'll be tempted to lock down, shut down? Don't. Like, this is what this conversation is about. It's meant to be completely inspiring. Here we are from all over the world. And look at what we're creating. I mean, I feel just fantastic from that meditation, Aishwarya. It was amazing. And, you know, we have about 3 minutes left on this. You feel uplifted, great. And I think the thing that we could say is that we want to keep this going, definitely beyond COVID, life beyond COVID, but during COVID, definitely, and see if we could kind of find a regularity, and it will, and we will announce that. I'll send out emails to everybody who was on. But do you want to pop back in, Aishwarya? Because we were talking about it before, and it's almost like a sort of boutique-y club where we can have these kind of conversations. And there is a point to furthering your vision as well. Like, that's the purpose. It's not to shut down. It's to like open up.
And I just think that, you know, again, connection is currency, and we at a time like this, we're gonna carry on this after COVID anyway, but it's actually really interesting and really powerful that we've started this in this time, and we've all come together in this time when we are isolated, and we want to use this opportunity to just be connected and learn. This is a space where we can all share. We're going to have new things that we're going to bring that's going to help you just straight away. you know, things that you can just go away with. And whether it's a shift in feeling or whether it's something that you go away and ponder on, is all building up to what we ultimately care about, getting your vision out into the world. And so it would be amazing if we could see your beautiful faces again and we can continue this conversation. And just feel free to invite anyone else that you think would, you know, love to be. This is like our little club. We invite people and then we want to just keep that conversation going. And I think the next one we've scheduled is when is it, Sally? 6 weeks time, I think.
We're doing it in 6 weeks. So this is not, it's the last Friday of every month. So there's a space now. If you get everything so that it's so like mundane constantly, we've got a lot of that, I think, in life anyway, everybody catching up, you know. But what we want to do, and is if anybody is interested in the conversation on visionary, how we can expand that. And we will, you know, take you through techniques. So the last Friday, I believe, is the 29th. Let me have a quick look on the diary. Yeah, and invite your friends. Now, the one technical piece of info is that I have a feeling, oh, you've got to pop off, Monty? Mwah.
At 12:30 here. Bye, guys. It was so good to enjoy all of you, and I will see you next time or before that.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks.
Yeah, the final thing I just wanted to say is there's a technical thing that I have a feeling, because of the way the system is, that we have to always get people to sign in for the thing that they want to do. It's not like I was talking to my virtual assistant about this, whether or not that one sign in is enough to keep it going, but I don't think it is in this case. So I will send out another one, but for now, just know it's the 29th, May 29th is a Friday, and we'll do it the same time. And we just invite anyone you want. And I will follow up with the emails so you know what's going on. But again, thank you so much for being here. It's been a total pleasure. Hey, Indira, I can see you, because I can't always see who's on the screen, but I finally saw you. And everybody can unmute and say goodbye, hello, or whatever you want. Courtney, lovely to see you. Yvonne, Carolyn.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Diana.
Thank you.
Shona. Janet.
Very well.
Dion, amazing to see you.
Yeah, I know.
The world traveler. Yeah, amazing to see you, and loads of love to everybody, and hope you're keeping well and happy. And see you later. Namaste.
Namaste.
Nice weekend, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.